Hello everyone. We are going to see the next part of the second chapter, that is installation of Node.js and Node.js event loop. Consider how to download and install Node.js. We are going to see the installation on Windows. To start building your Node.js applications, the first step is the installation of Node.js framework. The Node.js framework is available for a variety of operating systems right from Windows to Ubuntu. Once the Node.js framework is installed, you can start building your first Node.js application. Node.js also has the ability to embed external functionality or extended functionality by making use of custom modules. These modules have to be installed separately. Consider the first step, download Node.js installer. In a web browser, navigate to the URL nodejs.org/en/download. Click the Windows installer button to download the latest default version. The Node.js installer includes npm package manager. Consider the second step, install Node.js and npm from the browser. Once the installer finishes downloading, launch it. Open the downloads link in your browser and click the file, or browse to the location where you have saved the file and double-click it to launch. The system will ask if you want to run the software. Click Run. You will be welcomed to the Node.js setup wizard. Click Next. On the next screen, review the license agreement. Click Next if you agree to the terms and install the software. The installer will prompt you for the installation location. Leave the default location unless you have a specific need to install it somewhere else, then click Next. The wizard will let you select components to include or remove from the installation. Again, unless you have a specific need, accept the defaults by clicking Next. Finally, click the Install button to run the installer. When it finishes, click Finish. Step 3 is verify your installation. Open a command prompt and enter the following node-v. The system should display the Node.js version installed on your system. You can do the same for npm, like npm-v. Now, how to run your first Hello World application in Node.js, that we are going to see. Now, once you have downloaded and installed Node.js on your computer, let's try to display Hello World in a web browser. Create a file node.js with the file name first program and give the extension as js, where http is equal to require http.createServer in bracket function request comma response begin res.writehead in bracket 200 content type is text slash html res.end hello world listen 8080. Now see, the basic functionality of the require function is that it reads JavaScript file, executes the file, and then proceeds to return an object. Using this object, one can then use various functionalities available in the module called by the require function. So, in our case, since we want to use the functionality of HTTP and we are using the require in bracket HTTP command. Okay. So, this is the first line. Consider about the second line. We are creating a server application which is based on a simple function. This function is called whenever a request is made to our server application. When a request is received, we are asking our function to return hello world response to the client. The write head function is used to send the header data to the client, and while the end function will close the connection to the client. We are then using the server.listen function to make our server application listen to client request on port number 8080. You can specify any available port over here. Consider now how to execute the code. Save the file on your computer, c:/users/ your name /firstprogram.js. In the command prompt, navigate to the folder where the file is stored. Enter the command node firstprogram.js. Now your computer works as a server. If anyone tries to access your computer on port 8080, they will get a hello world message in return. Start your internet browser and type in the address http://localhost:8080 and you will get the output as hello world as shown. Next topic is event loop. But before going detail about event loop, I would like to give some information related to the threads. Whenever we run a program, we create an instance of it, and associated with that instance, we have something internal that is called as threads. A thread can be seen as a unit of operations that our CPU has to perform for us. Many different threads can be associated with a single process of a program. Okay. Now consider, how can our machine determine which thread to process at any given moment in time? As we know, our machines have a limited amount of resources like CPU, RAM, etc. So it's very important to correctly determine where we are going to allocate them, or better, which operations take precedence over others. And this all has to happen while still ensuring that no one operation takes too much time. Nobody likes a slow laptop, right? The mechanism used to solve the allocation problem is called as scheduling, and it's managed by our operating system by the entity called as operating system scheduler. The logic behind this can be very complex, but to make a long story short, we can group two of the biggest ways in which this operation can be performed. The first one is multi-core machines, which are assigning different threads to different cores. And second is using optimization logic that reduces wait times. So this is the most relevant approach for us. If we get a closer look at how threads work, we will see that our OS scheduler can recognize when our CPU is waiting for some other resources to perform a job. So, it can be allocated to perform other operations in the meantime. This usually happens for very expensive I/O operations such as reading from the hard drive, for example. Now consider about event loop. Whenever we run a node program, a thread is automatically created. This thread is the only place where our entire code base is going to be executed. Inside of it, something called as the event loop is generated. The role of this loop is to schedule which operations our only thread should be performing at any given point in time. Now note that the event loop doesn't get generated instantly as soon as we run our program. In fact, it only runs when the whole program has been executed. Okay. Node.js is a single-threaded, event-driven platform that is capable of running non-blocking asynchronous programming. This functionality of Node.js make it memory efficient. The event loop allows Node.js to perform non-blocking I/O operations despite the fact that JavaScript is single-threaded. It is done by assigning the operations to the operating system whenever and wherever possible. Most operating systems are multi-threaded and hence they can handle multiple operations executing in the background. When one of these operations is completed, the kernel tells Node.js and the respective callback assigned to that operation is added to the event queue, which will be executed. Now consider the various features of event loop. Event loop is an endless loop which waits for the task, executes them, and then sleeps until it receives more tasks. The event loop executes tasks from the event queue only when the call stack is empty. That is, there is no ongoing task. The event loop allows us to use callbacks and promises. The event loop executes the task starting from the oldest first. Consider one example. Console.log in bracket. This is the first statement. Set timeout in bracket function. Console.log. This is the second statement. End 1000. Console.log in bracket. This is the third statement. Output of this program will be, this is the first statement, this is the third statement, then this is the second statement. Now consider the first console log statement is pushed to the call stack and this is the first statement is logged on the console and the task is popped from the stack. Next, the set timeout is pushed to the queue and the task is sent to the operating system and the timer is set for the task. This task is then popped from the stack. Next, the third console log statement is pushed to the call stack and this is the third statement is logged on the console and the task is popped from the stack. When the timer set by the timeout function, in this case 1000 milliseconds, runs out, the callback is sent to the event queue. The event loop on finding the callback empty takes the task at the top of the event queue and sends it to the call stack. The callback function for set timeout function runs the instruction and this is the second statement is logged on the console and the task is popped from the stack. In the above case, if the timeout was set to 0 millisecond, then also the statement will be displayed in the same order. This is because although the callback will be immediately sent to the event queue, the event loop won't send it to the call stack unless the call stack is empty, that is until the provided input script comes to the end. Consider now working of event loop. When Node.js starts, it initializes the event loop, processes the provided input script, which may make asynchronous API calls, schedule the timers, then begin processing the event loop. In the previous example, the initial input script consisted of console.log statements and set timeout function which schedules a timer. When using Node.js, a special library module called libuv is used to perform asynchronous operations. This library is also used together with the back logic of Node to manage a special thread pool called the libuv thread pool. This thread pool is composed of 4 threads used to delegate operations that are too heavy for the event loop. I/O operations, opening and closing connections, set timeouts are the examples of such operations. When the thread pool completes a task,
A callback function is called which handles the error, if any, or does some other operation. This callback function is sent to the event queue. When the call stack is empty, the event goes through the event queue and sends the callback to the call stack. The following diagram is a proper representation of the event loop in a Node.js server.
So this diagram represents the event loop in Node.js server. Consider the various phases of the event loop. They are as follows: timers, pending callbacks, idle, ignore, poll, check, and closebacks. We are going to see each phase in detail in next slides. Consider the phases in detail now. The first is timers. Callbacks scheduled by set timeout and set interval are executed in this phase. A timer specifies the threshold after which a provided callback may be executed rather than the exact time a person wants it to be executed. Timers callback will run as early as they can be scheduled after the specified amount of time has passed. However, operating system scheduling or the running of other callbacks may.
This is the summary of event loop. Various phases are this way. Step 1. Everything scheduled with set timeout or set interval will be executed here. Step 2. Execute pending OS tasks and check which callback functions are ready to be called. Next step. Pause the execution, waiting for new events to occur. Step 4. Check if any function related to pending timers related to the set intermediate function are ready to be called. Step 5. Manage the close events. Thank you.